Welcome, guys. Welcome back, or welcome if it's the first time you're watching us live. And there's kind of a twist there. All right, that's fine. So, welcome if it's the first time you're watching us live. I'm with Mandy today. Welcome, Mandy. How's it going today?
I'm good. I'm a bit hungover because we have racing season, horse racing season, and so lots of parties on weekends. But all good. It was a good
Wonderful.
night, good day as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, we're going to do kind of a psychology session today. Welcome, welcome. So, yeah, we're going to do kind of a psychology session today. And we had last week kind of a very interesting coaching session with Mandy with the academy. I think that was really powerful. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But to start with, I think we'll kind of go through what's necessary to be able to trade full time and make a living trading. I think there's a few key aspects. I've been able to kind of point some of them out over time. And Mandy, you probably have a lot of experience with that, a lot of things you've seen, kind of the trade
Yeah.
that works to trade for a living. So we'll talk about that today for you guys. And if you have any question at any time, comment to the chat, which is going to be on, I think, this side, and we'll make sure to answer your question. So welcome. We have Timur. Welcome, Anna. Nice. Peterson. Welcome. Welcome, guys. Cool. So Mandy, I kind of want to go with a very specific question, but I'll make it very broad. So
Okay.
what do you think is the most important trait in regards to psychology when people want to trade for a living? Do you have anything in mind that comes like right away?
Yeah. If you look at Oprah, so we all know Oprah from the Oprah show. Her mission in the world was to teach people how to be responsible in life, how to take full responsibility and to find their place of power within. And I found this is really the key to successful trading. The key to successful trading is not being confident or patient or disciplined, because the lack thereof is just a result of what is going on inside of us, where we feel powerless or helpless, or if we feel we can't do it, we have limiting beliefs, we have fears. Everyone goes through that. The difference between the traders who make it and the traders who don't make it is, do we take responsibility in terms of, do we figure out what we can do about it instead of putting the honors onto other people? So to give you an example, you and I were just talking about traders who come to our courses and they think we are the magic pill. We are the solution to all their problems, but we are not. All we can do is facilitate and show the path. We are like, the coaches who coach a marathon runner or an Olympic swimmer, but they still have to do the swimming. They still have to do the running. And what we found often with people at this level, what we call level 1, they don't do the running and the swimming. They want us to do the running and the swimming. And so to give you an example, part of our training is that we do one session where we teach knowledge and information. And then the following session is where we do group coaching. After the first session, when we have taught the knowledge, they then have to fill in a questionnaire and they have to go inside of themselves and look at, how does what I just learned apply to myself and my trading? Fill in the questionnaire and send it back to us. Now, interestingly enough, I've done that a few times, and on average, I get 5-10% of questionnaires back. Now, if we look at the success rate in trading, we all know that it's 90-95% of traders who don't make it, and only 5-10%, if you're lucky, depending on the type of market, make it in trading. Now, is it a coincidence that we also have the same kind of same number of people sending us back the questionnaires who do the inner work? It's not, isn't it? So for me, that's the key trait that every trader can develop. And that's why I say everyone who doesn't have any severe disability, mental disability, can learn how to trade, because it's not rocket science. But that's the key. That's where everything flows off from, everything grows from, this one trade.
Mm-hmm. And it's pretty interesting. I see people complaining like all the time about the fact that they're losing money. They have this, and that. There's like people trading against them, the broker not doing their thing, like whatever bad situation, but they keep doing the same thing. They keep repeating the same thing over and over again without changing anything. I think, like you said, I think a big part of success and moving forward is to take responsibility for whatever happens. Like no matter what it is, you should always think of solution first before complaining. And I think there's a time you have to complain and like understand what happens, and yeah, it's bad, and you lose money, whatever, you're not consistent, or your strategy is not performing well. But after a while, like you have to get over it and do something to fix it, right? And I think that's where most people don't do the work, but really interesting. I think we're starting really strong, which is going to be interesting. And I just
Yeah,
realized we have people from pretty much all the continent here. We have people from Jeffrey uh, from Africa. We have,
nice.
let's see, we have Charles from Lima, Peru. Wow, that's cool. And welcome, Greg. What's up? Nice, couple of people. So we'll answer your question, guys, today. But I do want to, and this is something I hear a lot of time. Well, we have just short like this. We have Kaylin saying, Mandy, do you trade Forex? Is it pro? I think, yeah,
I
you trade
do
Forex.
I do trade Forex, but my main market is the DAX. I'm German, so I think I just have this affinity with the DAX. I don't know why. I can read the DAX much better. But I also trade Forex because, you know, the equity markets are so closely related to the Forex markets. And I love Forex. I find it extremely interesting because it's a completely kettle of fish in trading, you know, the FDAX. So the DAX I do more scalping. The Forex I do more swing trading. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. Valen from UK, welcome. Awesome. So, Mandy, I think a lot of people ask me about this, like when they start to trade. And for some people, it's not the first time they trade, like they've been trading for some time. But most people ask, like, where do you start? And I want to target this psychology. So, a lot of people are going to jump to trading, they're going to find strategies and how to like trade the market. But if we were to look at the psychology kind of evolution, where should people start, in your opinion?
In terms of psychology, for me, it all starts with self-awareness. The biggest reason why traders can't seem to get on top of their behavioral patterns is because they don't have a sufficient awareness. Only if we are aware of our behavioral patterns, then we have the choice in the moment of doing something different. So it starts with noticing what happened right before you took a loss. So, you know, traders, they take a loss and then they're upset and it's like, I did it again and what's wrong with me? And then they have this loop in their mind where they beat themselves up, they feel bad, they're upset, they don't want to be around other people anymore, so they withdraw from the world. And so, you know, the pattern continues and gets worse and worse and worse. And that makes them feel even worse about themselves, and they keep repeating the patterns even more. So what needs to be done is, I had a loss here. What happened right before I took this loss? Let's say I was in a profit and then the trade just dropped and now I'm in a loss. What was it that I was thinking? What was it that I was feeling? And then you write that down, and then you look at what we usually think and feel is something along those lines of a swear word. And then I had this profit, I want my profit back, this is not fair. I need to make my money back, because what if my wife finds out, or if my husband finds out, or if my, you know, I'm going to get sin binned by my trading manager, or you know, so it's these unresourceful thoughts, the fear thoughts that come from mostly from childhood, when we were being reprimanded for doing the wrong thing. But this is not helping, right? This is not taking responsibility. In that very moment, what we need to do is we need to shift our focus back on our system, on our strategy, and say, what does my system say here? Has my trade been invalidated based on my system? Now, this is where the second problem starts. Where most traders, they don't have a written down strategy, not written down step by step,
Yeah.
where they can tick it off. So they are.
just to stop here a
Yeah.
moment, this is like big. This is like most people I realize over time. And as soon as you do this, like you gain so much clarity. So I don't know why you'll be watching this live video today without having a trading plan. If you don't have one, I think best thing to
Yeah.
work on to today or tomorrow. Yeah.
And the thing is where um, I saw your interview with Jeremy. You know, Jeremy is a buddy of ours. He's also an educator. He teaches options. He says the same thing. So we educators, we talk to each other, guys, and we all have the same experience of when traders come to us and they say, I'm not patient, I'm not disciplined. And then we see the same behavioral patterns that causes them not to be patient and disciplined. And one of them is resisting writing down a plan. So look at it from a different viewpoint. Hi, Craig. Craig's from Sydney. I've met Craig. He came to one of my seminars. Good to see you here. So why do traders come to trading Forex, trading futures, trading altogether? They always say the same thing. I want freedom. I want to make so much money that I have the financial freedom, to have the time freedom, to hang out with my family and to travel the world and not being told by a boss what to do. So those guys have freedom as a very high value. It's really important to them. So they feel that when they put a plan into place, write down step by step, that their freedom is restricted. And then they start rebelling against that, like little kids. A responsible person says, I swear word hate it to be restricted and to follow plans and recipes. Yet I know that this is the only way that gets me to succeed in my trading, and hence I do it. Yeah, that's the difference. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's totally funny because this is exactly how I felt the first time I heard about a trading plan. I told myself like, no, I'm gonna do a plan. I don't need like a plan. Who would want to make a plan? It's like whoa. And then like it took me a long time from that moment to finally making the plan. But once I made it, I understood like what the part of it was and really like how you should treat trading. And that's the basic, yeah, the biggest difference I think I've made. And speaking of plan, do want to acknowledge we have NTV Game who joined us. NTV Game has been working crazy on some backtesting and some plans. So I think really good example of what you need to do as work, and that's really good. Yeah, and he just commented, "I never not had a plan," and that's exactly what it's about. Some people like to have plans and they take this really seriously, but other people just don't do it, and that's a problem sometimes, right?
So when if we go back to session 1 of our training that we had a while ago, remember the 4 components to success. The first component is the company culture, right? So if you look at company culture in context of trading, in context of the trader, it's, you know, what's your vision, what's your mission, what are your beliefs, what are your values, what's important to you. So if the value of family is higher for you than the value of making money in your business, then you will always feel guilty when you have a loss, for example. So having family as the highest value in your private life is really important. In your business life, it needs to be making money. And there's nothing wrong with making money. So if I say it needs to be making money and you feel like, oh, funny feelings coming up, you need to work on that. You need to resolve that, because then your relationship with money, your view of money, your self-image around money is not clean and it's not healthy. It needs to be resolved. So the second part is having a really strong structure in terms of having your plan written down, doing your performance statistics, having your morning routine, or, you know, for me it's the afternoon routine because I only trade in the afternoon. So being really strong in structure. Are you someone, I can hear myself, Etienne. Are you someone who is able to clean the house and keep it clean for a week? Or do you clean your house and mess it up straight away? That shows me that you will do the same in your trading. And so you have to have really like work instructions. If you look at any big business or McDonald's, they all have work instructions. they're so well organized in terms of if A happens, then you have to do B. There is no room for error. And so the same has to be in your trading business. And the third component is the implementation. So here you have your trading system, right? It's on your, it's laminated on your computer, or for me, it's on the wall. And now you've implement that, and now you get feedback, and you say, wow, it's working or it's not working. And if it's not working, you have to go back to the planning stage and look at it, why it's not working. So Steve Ward calls it the performance cycle. So you have the plan, you have the implementation, you have the evaluation, which is your performance statistics. You go back to the plan, adjust your strategy, implement, get feedback, evaluate, and so on. So you keep progressing to a higher and higher cycle, and you improve as a trader. And then fourth, of course, the fourth component is having a team that supports you. And we hear a lot that your meetup groups they're in Montreal, right? Your meetup groups, where are they?
Yeah.
Montreal. So your meetup groups in Montreal, a lot of traders tell me that's an amazing resource for them, because they have no trading friends. No one understands their trading world, how freaking hard trading is. And then they come to your meetups and they're like, yeah, I feel home here because someone finally understands me. So these are the four components. So, my bookkeeper, anyone who makes me feel good about myself, like, having a massage so my body is supple, going to the gym, or whatever it is that makes me feel good, something that makes me stronger as well, that is all part of my team. And, us being able to talk to each other as well, and talking about our trading. And it's like, this is what happened. I'm not quite sure. Can you have a look at the chart? What is it that I missed? But, Etienne and I, we only talk about our trades after the event. We never talk about our trades during the trades, because that would be dependency. That would be me wanting. So if I'm in a losing trade, I'm like, Etienne, can you look at my trade, please? That would me being codependent of Etienne and wanting him to save me and solve my problems. So I need to solve my trade first, and then I go to Etienne and say, what is it that I missed?
I
Really
think
important.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point. It's kind of the difference between getting feedback versus validation. If you get validation, there's a problem. But if you only get feedback afterward, then totally fine. And you need feedback to move forward anyway. So, but if you're trying to get someone else to approve your trade and tell you, and most people who ask, that's what they want. They want validation. They want me to tell them, well, I see a nice setup here, so I would have taken that trade too. But oftentimes, no. So you have to be careful with that. Totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mandy, I want to ask you about this because this is a comment really interesting from Anna. We were talking about trading plan not long ago, and I said that at some I thought I would not have to do a plan, and then I changed my mind at some point. So she
Yeah.
asked, "What made me get over it?" I guess to make the trading plan, and I was trying to think about it. It's kind of hard. I think I started to surround myself with more traders, and I saw that all of them, all of them, they had a plan. They all knew exactly what they were doing at all times, and they all had these rules that they were following all the time. So I kind of didn't have the choice. But I want to ask you, Mandy, how did you decide to make a trading plan?
If you have big enough losses,
Yeah,
then you start doing what it takes. Like when you hurt enough, you're getting over yourself.
that's
So
another
that's one
factor,
thing.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, and but we don't want traders to get to that stage where they have to hurt so much and have to lose money. When I started, it was a very different world. There was no internet. There was no. I had, I always say the story. I had to pick up the phone to call my broker, and it wasn't a mobile phone. It was, my landline. So I don't even have a landline anymore. But so there's several levels to that, Anna. So level number one is you need to investigate what is it that causes the resistance inside of yourself that you don't want to follow a plan. There's a lot of work to be done, because if you have the resistance, that will show in other areas of your life as well, because it's a very childhood behavior, and it will stop you to succeed in other areas of your life. When you understand what the resistance is, the second level is, because you have this resistance, I assume you have never learned a strategy on how to be organized, on um, um, how to follow a plan, because that's a behavior strategy as well. And then you need to learn that as well. So to give you an example, um, something that I always like to tell my traders is, um, I had this thing where I, as a very young child, had an experience where being on time was being ridiculed. And in that moment, I decided that I will always be running late. Now, I can't remember that. I had to actually 30 years later go back to my mom and ask her, why do I always run late? When did I start? And she said, oh, I remember there was, this moment. And from that moment onwards, it was really hard to get you, be on time in school and so on. You would always be, horsing around. So I didn't want to be like that as an adult, but I was, I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning for a 10 o'clock meeting and would still be running late. Now, I had learned the strategy on how to be running late. And when I resolved whatever the underlying issue was for why I was running late, it was not enough. I still had to learn a new strategy on how to be on time, because I never learned. I had to teach myself how to be on time. So I started, using my mobile phone and, putting alarms, when do I have to get up? I had to start measuring how long it takes me to go from A to B. I didn't even know how long it takes me to get to work. Hence, I was always running late. So I taught myself a really good strategy on how to be on time. And I learned from people who always were on time. I asked them, I said, how do you do that, this on time, being on time thing? And then I trained myself. So that's the second step, Anna. So once you have the awareness of what it is inside that needs to be resolved, that stops you from doing it, you need to learn a new strategy on how to make plans, because if you resist that in your trading, you will resist that everywhere in your life, and you start implementing that everywhere in your life. So discipline is not something that you can do in your trading, then nowhere else in your life. Discipline is someone that who you are, that you do everywhere. And what you do is you wherever you can, you put yourself in situations that are uncomfortable. Have a cold shower every morning. If you don't feel like eating healthy food, eat healthy food, just because you don't feel like it. If you don't want to go out with your friends, go out with your friends just because you don't feel like it, and train yourself to do the things that are hard. I
Love
hope
that.
that answered the question.
I think that's powerful. Really, really powerful. Welcome, Morocco Trader News. Welcome. And I had a thought about this, but yeah. So I want to do a quick test just for fun, and you guys can participate or not into that. But I would like you guys to comment in the chat box if you have a trading plan or no. So do like a yes if you have a trading plan, and
Well,
just a quick
written
no if you have no
down
trading
step
plan.
by step.
And
Written
we don't
down
want
step
to.
by step. Yeah.
Sorry.
Step by step written down. So you want to, higher the
Uh-huh.
standards, not
Cool.
just in
Yeah.
your head. Yeah.
So we're talking about a complete trading plan. So put the yes if you have one. If you have no, just put no. And I'm kind of curious because we have John. John says
Yeah, of
yes. Awesome.
course.
Yeah, John, you must have a trading plan.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, comment with the yes for a trading plan, no for no trading plan. And it's not to judge, just because we're curious about like what people have. And perhaps we can ask either like follow-up question if possible. But we'll see. We have more question news. Yes. Mike, yes. Into the game, yes. Timur, yes. Yes. Anna, yes. Wow. Impressive. I like it. That's great. We didn't have any no so far, so I'm impressed.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
So
Yes.
since you guys all have trading plans, what is it that we can do to support you? Any questions?
That's a good point. Because there's this part where you have no trading plan, and then you go to having a trading plan, but not knowing how to execute right. Or you don't execute it right necessarily. So there's kind of a gap at that point also. So yeah, interesting. Plans keep you safe from the market distraction. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's a good point. And I'm curious to know also if you guys want to comment below as well or in the chat. What's more difficult for you? Is it to like not take a trade you shouldn't take, or is it to kind of push yourself to take trade you should take? So either not taking trades or pushing yourself to take trades.
So that you mean like being impulsive and jumping
Yeah,
into
so
trade?
it's either impulsive or kind of too too safe, or yeah. So for myself, I see that I have much more trouble now. Well, like before was different, but now I have much more trouble putting the trade I should put or entering the trade I should enter. Like I have to push myself a little bit. But before I used to be the other way. I used to be like too. I used to jump too fast in the market. I used to want to take all the trade possible, and I kind of switch over time. Now it's kind of more between the two. But I've been a time where I had to push myself to enter trades that I was supposed to enter. So
And
I'm
this
curious
is
to
very
know like
normal,
what
Etienne.
people feel with that. Yeah.
This is really normal, Etienne. What often happens is that we are on one side of the pendulum. So let's
Uh-huh.
say we are really impulsive, and then we work on it, and then suddenly we go to the other side of the pendulum where we are too cautious, and that will then even out, and we will be, like down the middle path where sometimes we're a little bit too impulsive, a little bit too cautious, but most of the time we will be able to get it more right than wrong. Um,
Mhm.
that's just normal.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Morocco Trading News says, "What is the best volatility timing for forex?" It depends.
That's
As
for
soon
you,
as there's
Etienne.
people trading, it's it's volatile. So like there's different sessions in forex, so you could pretty much find volatility all day, which is a good a good time. But Mandy, do you have any preference for trading forex? I know I trade throughout the day, so I don't have any specific kind of like hour or time.
Yes. I mean, the thing is, volatility for Forex is very, very general. I mean,
Uh huh.
where do you live? What markets do you trade? So for me, being in Australia, I trade the yen pairs, the Asian session. So the yen pairs, the Aussie dollar, and I don't trade New Zealand dollar much because I just can't read this thing. so um, so yen pairs and Aussie is usually quite volatile during the Asia session.
Hmm.
Then, of course, London session starts and we have the pound and the euro who move. So these are the only ones I look at because everything beyond that is too late for me in the night. Um, but the thing is also, I look at the euro because the euro impacts my DAX. And I don't look at the pound so much because I don't trade the FTSE, but I keep an eye on the pound because of Brexit. I personally love trading news. I'm really good at it because I'm really good at short-term trading. So I love news announcements. So I literally would look at Forex Factory, when is the next announcement, wait for the announcement, and then trade that thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's just what I do.
Cool. Yeah, I use when I was day trading, I used to do that also a little bit, but not too much. And there's a, I like the way the comment here is typed, and that's interesting. It says, so this is C. Do we need to close trades before the news? And I think the question is not do we need to close the trade. It's more like do I need to close the trade? Because some people are going to be very comfortable trading news. Some people will like hate it and they're not going to be able to do it. So as we said in the beginning, it comes down to you and whatever you prefer. But I know people
Yeah.
trading both the news and not the news. So that's something you have
it,
to see for
it's like
yourself.
sports, right? So some people they are, like if you look at the horse race now, there's horses they're really strong sprinters. They run so fast in a very short period of time, and then there's horses they run faster and better on a very long stretch. So, you have marathon runners and sprinters. It just depends on what your personal preference is. And if you want to know that, look at your life. Look at what sports do you prefer. If you are a marathon runner, the likelihood of you being a scalper is very low because how we do one thing, we do everything. I used to be a show jumper on a horse, so I trade like I used to jump. And I didn't know that for many years until I started working with Steve Ward, and it became aware. Then I became aware of it. Um, but so yeah, look at your life and what your preferences are, and translate that into your trading.
Hmm. Wonderful. And I think NTV Game is making a good point. The fact that whenever you have less reactivity, it's usually easier to take trades and not doubt yourself and kind of have to push yourself to
Yeah.
take a trade. And that's something I kind of also worked on in the past, well, like 2 years ago. The idea of not having a subjective strategy, because the more subjective, the harder it is to take trades sometimes. But that's up to
Yes.
every person for sure. Always different. And Mandy, speaking of that topic, I want to talk about the last coaching session we had. I think this was kind of the first time I saw a coaching session that way that we did last week. Really interesting how you can kind of understand how someone behaves in trading and kind of understand how the whole person's life is. And that's really interesting. So maybe could you guide us through maybe how you work with traders who have kind of a tough time in trading? So should they work on their whole life before, or are there things they can do on the side to become better traders?
So yeah, it's really funny. It was very rewarding for me to see your reaction, because I do that all the time. You know, on the weekend I was at a conference. I was speaking at the conference for 2 hours, and then after the conference, one trader after the other came to me, and I think I was holding like 13 or 14 coaching sessions on that weekend, because people had so many questions. And for me, it's such a normal thing, and I didn't realize that it's maybe not. So what I believe is that how you do one thing, you do everything. So the behavioral pattern that we have in trading will be the same behavioral pattern that we have in other areas of our lives, maybe in health, maybe in relationships, maybe in our career. Now, often for traders to see their behavioral patterns is it's not tangible. You know, they're like, I can't understand what I'm doing. I feel overwhelmed. The emotions are just all over the place. But when you take the same principle into the area of their relationships or the area of their work or health, then they can see it clearly. So let's look at self-sabotaging behavior. If you want to lose weight, not that you need to lose weight, Etienne, but a lot of people want to, let's say, lose weight. Or let's say they want to start doing more sports because they need to move more. They know that's healthy and it's important for well-being. And they manage to do that for a certain amount of time. So let's say a week. And then the day comes when they either, they're supposed to get up at 5 in the morning to go for a run. And they're like, oh, can't be stuffed. I've done it all week. I deserve a break. Or, losing weight. They walk past the bakery and they smell the yummy croissants. And like, I've been good all week. I deserve a croissant. And that will play out in trading the same, where they follow the rules for 5 trades, and the 6 trades is like superhero syndrome. And they don't follow the rules. That's the trade that totally kills them. That's the blowout trade that stuffs up all the good work that they have done before. Now, to work with someone in the context of their health or their sports or career is much easier, because it's so much more tangible for traders. And if we resolve it in one area of their life, it will automatically resolve in trading. So the trader that we were working with, what was going on for him was that he was very committed to his dream, to his sport. And he did that. He was really good. He was admired in it. And then he fell off the rails. And he said a few things. And I said to him, look at your desk. I'm pretty sure you have a really messy desk. And he was like, how did you know? Because I could only see his face. I couldn't see his desk. He didn't wear glasses. Couldn't see that either. And I knew that his desk was messy because his whole life seemed to be so messy. If your house is messy, how can you be focused and organized in your trading? You can't, because it's a deep ingrained behavior pattern that you have. He was a rebel. He was rebelling against whatever happened in his life. And he had the fuck you mentality about the world. And if he resolved that pain, he will be flying in trading, because man, he got guts. He's got strong self-belief, and he is very because of his sports. He's very how do you call it? He's got mental toughness.
Yeah, and I was gonna say very like high achievement
High
oriented.
achiever.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I know that he has what it takes, but he needs to resolve his rebellion against the world. So something happened where he was hurt emotionally, and then he went down the fuck you road. And he does that in his trading as well. So he will have big losses, and he doesn't have a trading plan, we found out. No structure, nothing.
Mm-hmm. But even then, it's funny because I was talking to this guy this week, someone who's like really studying trading a lot, like spending hours every day to study trading, and he has like all these checklists and all these plans on his desk. But having too much is like too little, so you cannot follow anything. And I think the same
Yeah,
problem apply here. So it's only having a
yeah.
plan, but it's having a plan that you can follow over time.
And that's a really good point, Etienne, because if you have too many plans, you almost use that as a means to keep you safe from getting into a trade and losing money.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the fear of losing money, and so that's the thing that needs to be resolved. So the plan in this case is not something that supports, that helps. It's something that keeps you caged in, so that you don't go out and be vulnerable and take risks and risk being hurt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really interesting. And we have a question from Marcel here. How long on average do you think a trading plan for a beginner is? I don't know if we talk about time to create the plan or we talk about like how long, how many pages. My first trading plan had 30 plus pages and I couldn't follow it. My second trading plan had 1 page and I could follow it really, really well. So I don't know.
So that depends on your behavioral patterns. There is 4 major behavioral patterns. One is the one that, they just want facts and figures. That's all they want. And so they need a really short trading plan. The other one is they need a period of time. So they would be better for longer term trading. They need a period of time to make their decisions. So we need to, they need to look over the weekend, and then as the trading week starts, and then they make the decision. The third one is they need about 3 or 4 convincers. So they need maybe, let's say, a chart pattern. This is me, right? So I have chart pattern entry, I have moving averages, and I have Bollinger Bands, and I have stochastics. These are the 4 elements that need to be completed and satisfied and fulfilled for me to get into a trade. Yeah, so, and then we have the ones, and they're the ones who usually are at high risk of losing. They want to feel good. And they're the ones who have like lots and lots and lots and lots of entry criteria and exit criteria because they're afraid of feeling bad. And so to keep themselves safe from regret, from feeling bad, from losing money. So you want to be in one of the first 3, where you only have facts and figures. If A happens, then B. Or the second one, where you give yourself enough time to make a decision. You say, oh, I see something setting up, I follow it to set up, and this is my entry. But they need to follow the setup. Or the third one, where you say, I have 3 or 4 elements for my setup to be completed, and then I take the trade.
Wonderful. So what is one thing people could do this week to kind of take the first step to becoming better traders?
Wow.
I know it's on the spot, but
Yes. Looking at the questions here, really, I'm such a big fan of self-awareness. That's where it all starts. Look at your losing trades and your winning trades as well. Look at your trades, at the result of your trade, and say, what did happen right before that? And then what happened right before that? So to give you an example, as I said before, losing trade happened. What happened before that, before I took my loss? I was in profit, trade went in a loss. I didn't want to take that trade. If I look at my commonalities, every time my trade was in a profit and then I was in a loss, it was hard for me to take a loss. Whereas if I was in a loss first, it was really easy to take my loss, really easy. That gives me feedback that next time, when I'm in a loss, in a profit, and then I go into a loss, my alarm bells start. And I'm like, oh wow, now I'm at risk, because I know that it's really hard for me to take losses after I was in a profit. And now I can do behavioral patterns, or I can do my risk management such that I prevent myself from blowing out because I know now I'm at risk and now I need to have my seatbelt on, my airbags on, and just get out of this thing because I know this is the moment when I do stupid things. So this is what I would do. I would start being on self-awareness, writing down what happened before I had to take that loss or what happened before I took that profit.
Powerful. And if you guys want to go one step further, we do have this 12-week program we're doing with Mandy that has been so far really powerful. We've done only 2 weeks, but that was amazing. So if you guys want to find out more about this, I know we have some people here who are already in the program. So NTV Game is in the academy, and I've seen who did you see? Yeah, John is also there. So if you guys want to join, we have a link below. Really interesting, and you get coached by Mandy and I personally every single week. We do a group coaching session. And we still have like 10 weeks to go, which is really interesting. Check out the link below, and we'll catch you guys pretty soon if you
And
join us for that program.
we keep it really affordable for you guys, because some people have financial struggles, obviously. So we decided to just keep it at what $200 for the month, which is nothing. So I don't meditate, and I do mindfulness. But I have a coaching session at 9 o'clock, so I need to go. But so yeah, that's what I wanted to say. We don't charge crazy prices. We really try to make it affordable for you because I can tell you, I see a lot of people losing so much money, and it really shits me. One of the brokers was just afforded young wealthy of Australia and Forex broker. And I personally think that this needs to change, that the brokers make so much money and the traders are suffering. How do I know? Because I get your DMs, I get your emails, I get your heartbreaking stories. And so Etienne and I, that's our mission, to stop traders bleeding. I personally, I can't comment on that, say it publicly.
Cool. Well, I think that's fine. We'll wrap it up here, guys. If you have any questions, reach out.
Yes,
And look forward to that program anyway soon. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys soon. Ciao.
Thank you.